A woman called my clinic on a Tuesday afternoon in a complete panic. Her husband had given their beagle a small handful of grapes as a treat the night before because the dog had been begging at the table, and grapes seemed harmless enough. Fresh fruit, natural, nothing processed. By the next morning, the dog was lethargic, not interested in food, and had vomited twice. By the time she got him into my exam room, his kidney values were already elevated. We caught it early enough to treat aggressively with IV fluids and supportive care, and he recovered fully. But I want you to understand how close that came to going a very different direction. The husband had no idea grapes were dangerous. He thought he was giving his dog a healthy snack. And the terrifying part is that this is not a rare story. I hear versions of it several times a year, always with the same opening line. I had no idea that was toxic. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Nick Lane, your neighborhood veterinarian, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video might be the most important one I have made on this channel so far, because what I am about to share with you is not about unusual exotic substances your dog might accidentally encounter. Every single food on this list is sitting in the average kitchen right now, most of them in locations you reach for every single day, and the danger is not always obvious from the label or the ingredient list. I am going to walk you through the 5 most commonly missed toxic foods, exactly why each one is dangerous at the biological level, the specific symptoms to watch for if your dog has already eaten something on this list, and what to do in the first 30 minutes if you think your dog has been exposed. Keep a notebook close because I want you writing these down and putting them somewhere everyone in your household can see them. Before we get into the list, I want to address something I hear constantly in my clinic. Owners say their dog has eaten this before and was completely fine, so they assumed it was safe. And I understand that logic completely. But here is what makes several of these foods uniquely dangerous. The toxic dose is not always predictable. It varies by the individual dog's size, age, kidney function, and in some cases factors we still do not fully understand. Grapes are the best example of this. Some dogs eat a large quantity and show no reaction. Others go into acute kidney failure from just a few. We do not know why. There is no safe threshold we can point to and say below this line your dog will be fine, which means the only genuinely safe approach is to treat these foods as completely off limits, regardless of previous exposure, without incident. Now let's go through the list. Number 1 is grapes and raisins, and I am starting here because it is the one that sends dogs to emergency clinics most often, and the one owners underestimate most severely. Raisins are essentially concentrated grapes, which means they carry a higher toxic load per gram. The mechanism that makes them toxic is not yet fully understood at the molecular level, which is part of what makes them so dangerous. We cannot reverse engineer a safe dose because we do not fully understand the toxin. What we do know is that they cause acute kidney injury that can develop within 24 to 72 hours of ingestion. Early symptoms include vomiting, lethargy, loss of appetite, and reduced urination. If you see any combination of these symptoms and your dog has had access to grapes or raisins in the past 3 days, do not wait. Call your vet or an emergency clinic immediately. Number 2 is xylitol, and this is the one that worries me most because of how hidden it is. Xylitol is an artificial sweetener used in hundreds of products. Sugar-free gum, certain peanut butter brands, sugar-free candy, some vitamins and supplements, certain baked goods, and even some oral care products. In humans, it is harmless and is actually beneficial for dental health. In dogs, it triggers a massive and rapid release of insulin that causes blood sugar to crash dangerously, a condition called hypoglycemia, and in higher doses, it causes acute liver failure. The symptoms can come on within 30 minutes of ingestion and include sudden weakness, wobbling, seizures, and collapse. Always check the ingredient list of any peanut butter you give your dog. If you see xylitol listed, that jar should never come near your dog again. Number 3, and this is the one I promised is in almost every kitchen, is onion and garlic. This includes all forms, raw, cooked, powdered, and dehydrated. Onion powder is the most concentrated and therefore the most dangerous per gram, and it is an ingredient in countless seasoned foods, broths, gravies, baby foods, and spice blends that owners regularly share with their dogs without realizing it is there. Onions and garlic contain compounds called thiosulfates that damage red blood cells in dogs, causing a condition called hemolytic anemia, where the blood cells essentially burst. The frightening thing about this one is that the damage is cumulative. A single small exposure might cause no visible symptoms, but repeated small exposures over time build up damage that eventually becomes severe. Symptoms of onion and garlic toxicity include pale or yellowish gums, weakness, rapid breathing, and dark-colored urine. If your dog regularly eats table scraps from seasoned food, this is a conversation worth having with your vet at your next visit. Number 4 is macadamia nuts. These are less commonly known as toxic, but the reaction in dogs is striking and worth understanding. Within 12 hours of eating macadamia nuts, dogs typically show weakness specifically in the hind legs, tremors, vomiting, fever, and an inability to walk properly. The mechanism is not fully understood, but the reaction is consistent and well documented. Most dogs recover within 48 hours with supportive care, but the experience is distressing for both the dog and the owner and requires veterinary attention. The danger here is that macadamia nuts appear in cookies, trail mixes, and specialty chocolates that owners might share as treats, particularly around holidays. Number 5 is alcohol and raw yeast dough, and I am grouping these together because the mechanism of danger is the same. Raw yeast dough is dangerous for 2 reasons. First, it continues to ferment in the warm environment of the stomach, producing alcohol as a byproduct. Second, the dough expands in the stomach and can cause dangerous bloating or even a gastric obstruction. The alcohol produced can cause the same toxicity as direct alcohol ingestion, disorientation, vomiting, dangerously low blood sugar, low body temperature, and in severe cases, respiratory failure. If you bake bread or pizza dough at home and your dog has access to the kitchen during the rising phase, this is a risk worth taking seriously. Here is the home check I want you doing right now, and it has 2 parts. Part 1 is your pantry and kitchen audit. Go through your sugar-free products and check every ingredient list for xylitol, or gum, peanut butter, vitamins, and any sugar-free baked goods. Check your spice cabinet for onion powder and garlic powder, and make a mental note of any blended seasonings or packaged gravies and broths that might contain them. Move grapes and raisins to a location your dog cannot access, including countertops within jumping reach for larger breeds. And if you bake regularly, establish a rule that dough never rises in a location accessible to your dog. Part 2 is knowing what to do in the first 30 minutes if your dog eats something on this list. First, do not wait for symptoms to appear. Many of these toxins cause damage before any visible sign shows up. Second, call your vet or the ASPCA Animal Poison Control Center immediately and have the product name, approximate quantity eaten, and your dog's weight ready when you call. Third, do not attempt to make your dog vomit at home unless a vet or poison control specifically instructs you to and walks you through how to do it safely. Inducing vomiting incorrectly can cause additional harm. Time and accurate information are the 2 most valuable things you can give your vet in this situation. I want to be very clear about something. This list is not meant to make you feel like every meal is a minefield or that sharing any food with your dog is dangerous. The vast majority of whole foods are perfectly safe for dogs. Carrots, blueberries, plain cooked chicken, plain rice, watermelon, and many others are not only safe but genuinely beneficial. The goal today is specifically to close the knowledge gap on the foods that look harmless, that owners share in good faith, and that cause real preventable harm. The husband who gave his beagle grapes was not being careless. He was being kind. He just did not have the information he needed, and that is the only thing this video is trying to change. Let's bring this together. Grapes and raisins cause acute kidney failure with no predictable safe dose. Keep them completely away from your dog. Xylitol causes rapid blood sugar crash and liver failure and is hidden in sugar-free products, including certain peanut butter brands. Always check ingredient lists. Onion and garlic in all forms, including powdered, cause cumulative red blood cell damage. Avoid all seasoned table scraps. Macadamia nuts cause hind-leg weakness and tremors and appear in holiday foods and trail mixes. Raw yeast dough ferments in the stomach, producing alcohol. Secure dough during the rising phase. If exposure happens, call your vet or poison control immediately. Do not wait for symptoms, and do not attempt home treatment without guidance. If this video gave you information you are genuinely glad to have, please hit that like button right now. It helps this reach dog owners who need it before something happens rather than after. Subscribe so you do not miss the next deep dive into your dog's health. And leave me a comment below telling me which one on this list surprised you the most, because I read every single comment and I genuinely want to know. Give your dog a safe treat and a gentle scratch behind the ears for Dr. Nick tonight. Stay safe. Always trust your instincts.